Hi there, I'm Lauren Parsons. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about how not to start the year and what to do instead. So it's really interesting when we start a new year. It's this new opportunity to think about how do you want the year to be, to reflect back on the year that's been. And today I want to take you through a process that will have a unique approach with 4 really powerful but really concise questions that will help you to look at the way that you plan and set goals in a totally different way to what you may have done before. So even if you don't enjoy goal setting, I'm sure that you are going to get a whole lot out of this, and by the end of this session, be able to move forward with massive clarity. So for those that don't know me, I am a busy mum of 3. I'm married to Maury. Because of his work, we move a lot. So fun fact about us is in our 17 years of marriage, we have moved 11 times, 6 times internationally. So a lot of resilience building along the way there. And I'm really passionate about well-being. My vision is to inspire and educate business leaders to find the sweet spot between well-being and productivity, creating positive, energized workplaces where people thrive. We know that when individuals thrive, that flows on to benefit everyone and everything around them. So my goal is always to help you to boost your well-being and for that to flow on and create a positive ripple. If there's one thing you can take away today, that you can go and share that with someone else and that they could apply that and help to spread that positive ripple. So today's really a chance to reflect. I invite you to think about reflecting on the year that's been, how you feel about it, and to really reflect on how you want the next year to be, because reflection is a hugely powerful tool and it's one that's often underutilized. So as I said, even if you don't normally enjoy goal setting, typical goal setting, this is a unique approach. And this is really important because you are a leader. You are the leader of your own life, and the way that you show up matters every single day. So we're going to work through these 4 key questions, and by the end of the session, give you massive clarity. So just to share a little bit about me before we dive into all of that, just so you know where this is coming from. I am based in the Manawatu in New Zealand, and my background is that I was the shy and sporty kid at school, but somehow when I went to university, I got into loving helping people in fitness centres. I got into teaching aerobics and then got into personal training, and I taught personal training at the New Zealand College of Fitness. I then got qualified as a life coach to help people with the mindset side of things, and then decided to start speaking to groups around some unique ideas I have that really help people get started into fitness and boosting their well-being, also around nutrition, and I brought out my book Real Food Less Fuss in 2016. I've also created 5 Live Well principles, which are underpinned by 30 pillars, and they help you take a really holistic approach to well-being. So we'll look at those a little bit later on. Now really what I love to do is to speak at conferences and in-house and with leadership teams, and as I mentioned, help you create a positive, energized culture. And anyone within a team can be a catalyst for positive change in that area, I believe. Now, I don't know if you watch TED Talks, but if you don't already, I highly recommend heading to TED.com. And these are amazing talks by people all around the world. And I was really privileged to deliver a TED Talk at TEDx Oneonta in New York in 2018. So that's just a little bit about me, but none of that really matters unless you do this thing that I call understanding the knowledge action gap, because sometimes there is a gap between the things that we know that we could do or perhaps should do, and then there's what we actually do day to day. And so my goal right now for you today is to help you to close that gap between the things that you know you could or should do and then the things that you actually do day to day. And this is so critical because without action, we have no results. But before we take action, it's really important to take that time to reflect. Now, as I said, goal setting can sometimes be challenging. Sometimes we can feel overwhelmed by it. It can feel quite daunting. And there's 3 key challenges with it, I guess. One is that sometimes it feels daunting because you feel like if I write down a goal or a dream that I have, then if I don't achieve it, then I feel like a failure. So I invite you to really reflect on that and to let that go, or release yourself from that pressure, because if you think it or if you write it down or not, there's no added pressure for you. But when you do write it down, there is huge power in that, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But the interesting thing is that sometimes we fear writing things down because other plans have been interrupted. Now, the year 2020 was obviously unprecedented. It's probably an overused word, but it really was so much changed. We all faced challenges and we all had to grieve the loss of things during 2020 because of the global pandemic. And because of that, because of a disruption of so many plans, I'm hearing that there's a lot of people that are even more nervous than normal to make plans for the future. But I do want to encourage you to remember that even if the plans don't work out entirely as you had first hoped, there is still huge value in dreaming and planning and thinking about how you'd love life to be and then moving towards that. And whether you write it down or not, that's your choice, but I really urge you to write it down today because it will make a huge difference. We know that it will help your brain to notice opportunities in line with you being able to move towards that thing that you've pictured and envisioned. So that's what today's all about. Now, the challenge is that most people start the new year by making New Year's resolutions, and they say things like, I'm going to exercise more, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to spend more time with family, I'm going to socialize more, I'm going to keep the house tidier, I'm going to keep my desk tidier. And so these are all very well-intended goals, but also very non-specific, vague goals. By their very nature, by saying I'm going to eat better, well, better than what? You're comparing it back to perhaps whatever it used to be. But if that's the sort of goal that you've made year after year after year, and then you've realized that there hasn't been much change, then you're probably, as you're saying it or thinking it, already thinking to yourself, oh yeah, but that's not really going to happen. So what we're going to do is reverse engineer the way that you set goals to start by thinking about how you want to feel and then to work back from that. And then to be able to add some specifics in so that it's not just a vague intention or a vague New Year's resolution, but it's actually a really clear positive intention for the year. So it's really about taking a totally unique and different approach to the way that you look at goal setting to be able to arrive at your goals in a different fashion. And I just want to emphasize that if you can grab a pen and paper right now, go away, pause the video if you need to, head away, make sure you grab a pen and paper or a journal. And I've just got these 4 questions. I'm going to invite you to connect with me and join with me, partner, to write these down. Obviously, I can't see them, so they're just for you. But I invite you to pause right now, take a deep breath in, breathe on out, just get grounded. Think about something that you're grateful for in your life right now. And the first question of these 4 questions that I want to ask you, and I invite you to write this down, is to write down, how do I want to feel? So on your top of your journal, on your piece of paper, just write down, how do I want to feel? Add a question mark. And then I invite you to ponder that and really think about that. And I'm going to invite you to pause the video, and you might spend 2 minutes, you might spend 5 minutes, to just write down, how do you want to feel? What words come to mind, what emotions come to mind that describe how you want to feel over the next year and actually in the future. So I invite you now to pause the video and write down some thoughts around how you want to feel. Now, no, I haven't given you much time there, so I do hope you pause that video as long as you need. When you're ready, come and join me again. And what I'd love you to picture now is, imagine that it's your 88th birthday. You are surrounded by all of your loved ones and you're having this amazing celebration. It's your 88th birthday and you're in great health. You've got vim, vigor and vitality. You're sharp as a tack. You're having a lovely celebration, just the type of celebration that you would love, however big or small that is. You're surrounded by your closest loved ones. Just invite you for a moment, if you're comfortable, either to defocus on the floor or to close your eyes. Have your feet flat on the floor, grounded. Close your eyes and just picture for a moment, what are all the things that you would love to hear people saying about the person that you are, about the character traits that you display. Picture the sort of things you'd love to hear your loved ones saying about the things that you have done in your life to date. Picture the things that you'd love to achieve in your life. Picture how it will feel sitting there listening to all your loved ones saying all the things that you would most love to hear people say about the person that you are, your character traits, the way you've shown up. And what are the things that you would love to hear them say about the things that you've done, the things you've achieved, the memories you've created together? When you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes again, pick up your pen and just jot down those things that came to mind. The sorts of things that people said about the person that you are and have been throughout your life, character traits you have, the things that you have done. And really picture what are the things that you most want to do in life. So I invite you to pause the video now, take as much time as you need to write down in detail the sorts of things that you want to do, the sorts of things that you want to hear people saying about you in your life. Pause it now and write those down. Now you're back with me, I invite you to think more deeply about who you need to be. Who is the person that you need to be in life to allow you to achieve all of those things to happen? So we've looked at how you want to feel. We've looked at what are the things that you want to do? What are the things that at your 88th birthday you'd love to hear people saying about you? And now who is the person that you want to be? Who's the person that you need to be in order to achieve that? So I invite you to spend some time now writing down the character traits that describe the person that you're going to need to be in order to achieve that. So take a few moments again, pause the video and write down who do you need to be. And now that you're back with me again, the final question is to think about what do you need to learn, or what help do you need? What help and support, and what do you need to learn in order to be that person, in order to do those things, in order to feel that way? Does that make sense? So this is how we're reverse engineering it. So I invite you to think about what are the things you need to learn. Are there skills and character traits that you really need to learn and develop? Are there practical tools that you need? Is there some study that you're going to need to undergo? Do you need to learn more around communication? Do you need to learn more around assertiveness or leadership or some specific field of expertise? Perhaps it's around IT or innovation. So just invite you to jot down what comes to mind when you think about what are the things that you're going to need to learn and grow in, and what other help are you going to need to make those things come to life. So again, pause the video and do that right now. Now you're back with me again. I invite you to look on everything that you've written down. I do sincerely hope that you've paused the video and taken all the time that you need. And if you haven't, go back and think over those 4 questions. How do I want to feel? What do I really want to do and achieve? And what memories do I want to create in my life? Who do I need to be in order to do that? And what do I need to learn in order to make that happen? And from this day forward, picture that as being the journey that you're on. When you picture all the things that you thought about at your 88th birthday, all the things that came to mind, make every step that you take from this day forward in line with that goal. So often we're very close-minded, we're very short-term focused, and we're very focused on our problems very often, which is another whole topic, when really what we want to do is shift our mind to focus on what we want. And so if you have just worked through those 4 questions to really think about how you want to feel, and then think about what you're going to do to reach that feeling, it's a totally different way of going about it than thinking, what goal am I going to set? Because sometimes we set a goal and then we strive to achieve it, and we achieve it and we reach that milestone, and then we think, oh, actually that was a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of blood, sweat and tears, but I still don't feel the way that I want to feel. So this is why this reverse engineering process, where you start with saying, how do I want to feel? And then you start thinking about, okay, so what am I going to do? Who do I need to be? And what am I going to learn? All of those things will then culminate by you achieving those things and you feeling the way that you desired. But it's so vital to start with that. And sometimes we can get discouraged. It's easy sometimes to look at the ladder and to set a goal that is so high up that we can't see the top. What's really interesting, however, is that all you need to do is to just focus on the next rung that's in front of you, to reach that, grip onto that, and to trust that you're going to be able to pull yourself up to then reach to the next rung to pull yourself up. And over time, as you can imagine, you're going to get closer and closer to that goal just by focusing on the next rung and then the next and then the next. So sometimes when we set goals, a challenge can be that we make them so lofty and so high with no steps in between that we feel that they are unattainable. But if you can trust that you've set that high and lofty goal, which is a really amazing thing to do, and then in your day-to-day, you focus on who do I need to be today? What do I need to learn to move one rung closer? What am I going to do that's going to just help me get to that next level? Okay, who am I going to show up as now? Each time you focus on each of those parts of the bigger picture, you will find that before you know it, you are way up that ladder and you look back behind you and you think, wow, look at how far I've actually come. Oh my goodness. And that will inspire you to keep going. So I hope that going through the exercise with me today has helped you to have a really great way to reflect on how you're feeling now, how you want to feel, and then to set some goals to really think about how do you want to show up, who do you want to be, what do you need to learn, and that every day from this day forward you can step into that you can look at those rungs. I mentioned at the start that I have these 5 live well principles, and just briefly they are to uplift your thoughts, to have an attitude of gratitude, to focus on what you want, to nourish yourself with whole real food full of fibre and vitamins and phytochemicals to really nourish your body and fuel you well, to invigorate, and my philosophy there is to snack on exercise. That's what I shared in my TED Talk. Also to incorporate play and time outdoors and nature and just really getting back to what it is to be a human being and what charges us up. To strengthen your body, your mind, your resilience, your social connection. And then lastly, to restore, to keep everything in balance. So when we think about these, there are so many aspects to this. And actually what I've done is created 30 pillars that underpin these 5 principles. So as I mentioned, we're obviously not going to cover them all in this session, but I hope that this has inspired you to think big and to remember that if you're wanting to nourish and look after your own well-being, it is so vital to protect your health and well-being first. And that relates to not just your physical well-being, but even more so your mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, so that you can go the distance and achieve all of those things that you desire. So I invite you, if you'd like to find out more about that, then feel free to head over to the website and grab a copy of my book, 5 Keys to a Positive, Energized, High-Performance Culture. And what this does is, if you love checklists, then you will love this because it's got a whole lot of checklists of little ideas that you can easily implement, simple yet hugely powerful ideas of ways that you can boost your well-being in your workplace. And I invite you to share that with your colleagues, with your team around you. And of course, if there's any way I can help you to make any of that a reality, I'm really happy to chat to you about that. So that's just a little bit on those live well principles. And as I say, just head to the website if you want to find out more. Just want to finish with a quote, and that is that you can achieve much more than you've ever dreamed or imagined. So much more. The key really is to start. So I hope that you feel a little bit or maybe a lot inspired by picturing how you really want life to be at your 88th birthday, and that you've worked back from that to think, how do you want to feel this year? What are you going to do this year? Who are you going to be? How are you going to show up? What are you going to learn? Because if nothing else, this last year of pandemic has given us this amazing opportunity to learn, hasn't it? I'm constantly thinking that when we go through challenging times, that we know that's what stretches us, what grows us, what builds our resilience. And I'm sure that in a few years we will look back on this global pandemic and think, wow, I learned so much. So let's see if we can fast forward our minds to that point and actually bring those learnings back into the present day. If you can be learning right now, then that is such a powerful thing, isn't it? Love to stay in touch with you, so feel free to connect with me. As I said, you can grab the ebook at laurenparsonswellbeing.com. Head to snackonexercise.com if you want to find out more about my TED Talk. And just feel free to connect with me on any of the social media channels, or you can even email me if you have a specific question that I can help you with something. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this today. I hope that as you picture how you want to feel and then you work back from that, that it gives you a revolutionary way to set your goals, to set you up for a really successful, joy-filled year. So wishing you all the best with that. Anything I can help with, just reach out. I'm Lauren Parsons, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much.